Hey, Professor. My name is Derek Lewandowski, and I'll be presenting my cultural opposite paper. Um, okay. My cultural opposite is someone that I've been really close friends with since we were born. Honestly, our parents have always been close friends. Uh, I just didn't realize how much of an opposite, a cultural opposite, he really was to me until we actually had this interview. But my cultural opposite, his name is Jared Lambert. Jared is now a 20-year-old college student who attends Norfolk State University. Jared and I both grew up together in Richfield Park, New Jersey, where I live right now. It's a small town in Bergen County. Before high school, like right after middle school, Jared had moved to Oakland, New Jersey. That's where he would attend high school there. He went to Indian Hills High School. That's also in Bergen County. Um, Jared lived with his mom on the weekdays. Well, still technically does, and he would stay with his dad on weekends every now and then because his parents got divorced when he was 4 years old. During the interview, I mainly focus on how Jared had to overcome many different obstacles in his throughout his childhood, and then such as like making the move from Richfield Park, which is like a smaller town, to Oakland, a much bigger town, a lot of more students, and honestly, we really just had many differences that we did not even know we had. His educational experience was completely different than mine in high school, so we talked about that too. Interview and data collection. Jared and I decided to meet up at Lodi Lane's bowling alley, which is in Lodi, New Jersey. Uh, that's like where we go to hang out most of the time when we did hang out, which was on weekends since he moved. It's a place where it's like we stay, like keeps us out of trouble, keeps us occupied and busy. Uh, at the time, we went early in the morning. Since I know the workers there, I can go before they open up, so we were able to talk nice and quiet. No one was bothering us. Um, Throughout the meeting, I realized even though myself and Jared would hang out and have like a great time at the school, life was different at home for both of us, which I didn't realize until now when we had this interview. I asked questions relating to the move Jared had to make from Richfield Park to Oakland, and other questions relating to his at-home issues. Um, yeah, that was pretty much it for that part. We talked for about 4 hours, but we ate food in between, so it was kind of like we had a little bit of a break since I was asking so many questions. Um, During the last part of the interview, I asked a couple of personal questions, kind of relating to some issues he was mentioning to me. One in particular was the money issue, being in Oakland. Like in Richfield Park, most people are between low and middle class citizens. In Oakland, it's more middle to high. So us in Richfield Park, we have a couple dollars we carry around. We'll go to like a bodega and get something. But over in Oakland, most of his friends would get money from their parents whenever they would want, and they'd be able to go wherever they would really want. Money wasn't really the issue to them. However, Jared had to work for his money. His mom wouldn't give him money when he would go hang out with friends. So it was a lot harder for him. Results for the interview. During the beginning of the interview, I started with the basic questions. Jared is German and Irish. Grew up in Richfield Park, New Jersey. Moved to Oakland when he was 14. Jared and I both went to the same elementary school and middle school. We went to Lincoln School, which is in Richfield Park. We went to Richfield Park Junior Senior High School, which is a middle school and a high school. I asked Jared to explain what his childhood was like when his parents got divorced. His mom stayed in Richfield Park, so we were still always with each other. However, his dad moved to West New York, so he would go to his dad's on weekends. But his dad side of the family is a little like messed up. They have a bunch of, like, I don't know how to explain it. Most of his family is incarcerated or hooked on the drugs and alcohol. So, like, his mom doesn't want him to be there. It's, like, it's not the best place. But Jared has family in Virginia, which he gets to visit on holidays such as Thanksgiving and Christmas. That's his mom's side of the family. Jared was very upset when he made the move. The main reason he didn't want to move was because he had so many close friends in Richfield Park and he wanted to graduate with all of us. He wanted to finish high school, obviously, with us. Richfield Park is predominantly Hispanic and blacks, but has like a large mix of everybody, so everyone gets along with each other. There's never any racial issues, blah blah blah. But Indian Hills in Oakland is predominantly Caucasian, has like no blacks, very little Hispanics, no Asians, no really other ethnicities. So it was definitely a weird change for him to adapt to that. He said it definitely took like the first year of high school to get through it, but he got through it. During the interview, the questions I were mainly talking about were like the financial issues that Jared had. I knew it was personal, but Jared was open to any questions I would ask him. So he had mentioned that it was very stressful having to go to school, then having to go to track practice because he did track and field, and then he would work at the YMCA, which he worked at throughout all of high school. He would work from 6 p.m. to 10 p.m. weekdays. That's how he would have his money for any type of spend money, but mainly he saved up because he wanted to get a car, which he now has, which gives him transportation from here to school. The last part of the interview, I asked about any restrictions at home, which he did have restrictions, such as his mom wouldn't want him out late. He would have to get home right after work at 10 o'clock. He would bike home. He didn't live far from the YMCA. He on the weekends, he would be able to hang out with friends, but he had to make sure he had his homework done. And then that's really it, but he was mainly home. He wouldn't really go to his dad's on weekends since his dad's side of the family is kind of toxic. Summary of a school report card. Well, Indian Hills has 86% white students, 7% Hispanic students, 5% Asian, 0% black students, and 2% students with 2 or more races. So the school is very white. 52% of students are males and 48 are females. Indian Hills has just over 1,100 students, which is more than Richland Park. 72% of students are proficient in reading, and 51% of students are proficient in math. And Indian Hills has a graduation rate of 96%. Community observations. Jared now lives in Virginia with his family on his mother's side. They live right near Norfolk State University, so it's convenient for him to live there. It's about a 20-minute drive. He lives in a small town, Hampton, Virginia. 50% of residents are black. 42% is white, so it's kind of a mix. The population is small with 137,000 people. Interpretation and analysts. Everything Jared told me about his friends at Indian Hills High School made sense. Indian Hills is a great school academically, with most students succeeding and going on to college after high school. Great graduation percentage. Richland Park was more on the athletic side, didn't focus as much on school. It was a lot different here. The academics at Indian Hills is definitely much better. They gave their students iPads instead of textbooks, which was easier for them to carry around. It was just all made sense. Comparison, our lives were a lot different than we really thought. We definitely had our differences. I lived in Richland Park my whole life. I lived in the same house. Jared went from living in Richland Park for his first 14 years of life to making that big move to Oakland. So that was definitely hard for him. I've always lived with my parents and siblings, while Jared had to only live with his single mom, who definitely went through a lot. Couldn't really see his dad because the atmosphere over there was toxic. In conclusion, although myself and Jared had very different lives growing up during our childhood, we both got to where we wanted after high school, and that's going to college. Both of us definitely are doing the right thing right now. Jared definitely has it a little harder. He has to go from Virginia to New Jersey back and forth every now and then. He wants to see his mom, obviously. And right now, obviously, he's doing what we're all doing, which is online classes. But he is in Virginia. He's down there still with his family on his mom's side. Everything is okay. I've attached references that I got my information from relating to the schools and percentages. I got some field notes. I had jotted down questions that I wanted to ask. The cultural opposite outline. I also jotted down interview notes that I attached to the paper. I also recorded the entire interview we had at Lodi Lanes, which helped me remember everything we talked about, even though I didn't really forget much. And then the interview setting, which I said was Lodi Lanes at Lodi, New Jersey. We talked for about 4 hours with like a break in between. It was quiet because no one was really there at the time. And yeah, that's really it for my cultural opposite paper. If you have any questions, feel free to email me. I'm open to any questions. To this day, me and Jared are best friends still. We talk all the time. Um, we went our separate ways, but we still always make sure we're doing good, pushing each other to succeed. And yeah, that's it.